Okay, this video comes to you in 3 parts. Part 1. You may notice I'm talking a little bit more quickly and there's more editing involved in this video because I'm trying something new. I'm going to try and talk a little quicker and make my videos a little less boring. Part 2. Soren Kierkegaard. He's awesome. At one level, Kierkegaard's aim is straightforward. To strip you, the reader, naked at 2 in the morning, to sit you in front of a mirror and to force you to think about your life. Soren Kierkegaard is awesome. Read him. Part 3. There's this guy named Pascal, and he has this idea, which you probably heard about, called Pascal's Wager, and that's kind of what my video is going to be about today. Now, even though you probably already know what it is, I'm going to have to explain it to you, just in case. Pascal's Wager goes like this. There are basically 2 options. Either God exists or God doesn't exist. Now, if you choose to believe that God exists, if you turn out to be right, then you go to heaven and you live happily ever after. If you turn out to be wrong, then all you've really lost is not spending all the time doing all the worldly, sinful things that God wouldn't want you to do because he doesn't really exist. On the other hand, if you choose to believe that God doesn't exist, if you're right, then you get all the small worldly pleasures that God doesn't want you to have, and if you're wrong, then you go to hell. So Pascal says that there's essentially the chance of infinite happiness and small pain, as opposed to infinite pain and small happiness. So it's much more advantageous to choose to believe that God does exist than to choose to believe that he doesn't exist. So my question is Pascal's Wager actual faith or Christianity? Oh darn, I opened a window and now the whole color of the video has changed. So I have a few problems with Pascal's Wager. The first is that it's essentially self-centered. Christianity is by nature not about the self, it's about God, but Pascal's whole reason for believing in Christianity is because he's most likely to have the most amount of happiness as opposed to a small amount of pain. So is he really actually being a Christian, or is he just trying to get the best out of it for himself? If he's just trying to get the best out of it for himself, that's the exact opposite of Christianity. My next problem comes from what I understand to be the general definition of faith. That definition comes from Hebrews 11:1, which is the assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen. Now, is Pascal's Wager actually a conviction of things not seen or assurance of things hoped for? When I think about it, it seems like the exact opposite of assurance. He's essentially guessing just because it gets him the most happiness out of it. Lastly, it seems like I'd like to ask Pascal the question, when everything is stripped away, when all of your trying to assure yourself of certain things is taken away, do you actually believe in God, or you just to believe that it's most advantageous if you believed in God? Are you asking us to believe in God, or are you asking us to essentially fake it till we make it? Try and tell ourselves that we believe in God until we actually do. So it seems to me that I think, at least for the moment, that Pascal's Wager is a kind of false Christianity, which is ultimately self-centered. Part 4. Even though I've been using a different kind of video style this week, I really hope that I haven't made you feel like you aren't actually talking to me.